of Minecraft. It's so peaceful, so serene, with its beautiful beaches, lush forests, and snowy mountains. The crafters are so lucky to enjoy their entire lives in this true masterpiece of euphoria. That's until some idiot IRL friendly decides to do hardcore. Yeah, it wasn't enough that we completely failed last time. He wants to go in for another round. And I guess here we are again, in hell. This, what you see right now, that is where we are. Not literally. That's how I feel. When I look around, that's what I see. Either way, enjoy my suffering, as we do many days of hardcore Minecraft. Day 21. I started this day out by making plans for the episode. That's right, I was like, I have to set this out. Let's set the scene, almost. And I thought I did a pretty good job, not gonna lie. Okay, today I want to get some nice tool type stuff I want to be able to enchant and feel like I am a professional Minecraft player. Someone who is strong and powerful and has enchanted gear and armor and stuff, and I don't have to worry about dying. Okay, so in order to do that, we do need to make, I have been starting to make some bookcases, but I would like to make some more. I don't know how many bookcases you need. Is that okay? We are also going to need some diamonds, because, that's right, I made my diamond helmet, which is wonderful, but we're going to have to use those diamonds to make the final piece of the puzzle. So remember when I said we're not going to go down the mines? Guess I lied. Then I went down into the mines because I needed to get some obsidian. It was time we started to work on our enchanting area. I need upgrades. I need to look fly. I need my enchantments so I could survive a bit longer. I was also getting bored of the fact that my tools were so slow and breaking and having to be replaced constantly. And then, once I got the obsidian, I started to set up my enchanting area, putting out the bookcases, making sure it all looked nice. Although eventually it was going to be moved, probably before the end of this 100 days. And after a little bit of conversation with myself, I decided I'd be using fishing for the levels. Yes, I did think about putting the dungeon area with all the trials, and I did feel about maybe trying to find an XP farm, but at that time, I decided fishing was the way to do things. Day 22 and 23, I spent fishing. My mind was very much made up, mainly because I was just wanting to do something that's very peaceful, very quiet. I like fishing. I find it interesting because it's more of a quiet, peaceful thing, but you get stuff out of it, like fish and occasional enchanted books and lily pads and I don't know, other things, I suppose. But you got things out of something that I actually like doing. So say with mining, you know, you find diamonds, you get excited because you've just been going through this like autopilot kind of process, and then all of a sudden, bam, there's a surprise. It's like Kinder Surprises and Pokemon card packs, you know, you open up, you're like, oh my god. But unfortunately, I did only gain 2 levels, and that was very, very sad. But enjoy the music, I guess. On day 24, after the, well, minimal success with fishing, only getting 2 levels, I decided to go down into the cave chambers. I thought because they reset and there's going to be a whole bunch of skeletons, I thought that'd be great for XP, and, well, they did. They had reset. It was great. I got to take them out, but it still was not a good form of XP. I thought it would be because, you know, there are skeletons constantly spawning. Skeletons give a decent enough XP. I guess because skeletons, you know, usually when you're doing that, it's an XP farm or a mob grinder or whatever it is, and they're dropping down. You have like 100 at a time. So I suppose that's the good part, like getting lots of them. I also tried with just the zombie spawners, so I took out all the torches to just give them a chance, and I had very little success there too. So that was kind of disappointing. Another XP farm or way of getting XP that failed. On day 25, I went out exploring in hopes that I'd find something or think of something for XP. I thought maybe we'd find some enchanting bottles, or maybe we'd find, I don't know, a above ground mob spawner, because you can find those in this generative world. All I found was a big ass bull statue, which I wasn't too sure what to think of it. I was a little confused. I wasn't too sure what it was supposed to be or if it activates something, but it was creepy enough. And I found a villager in a boat. It was out in the lake. Stupid me thought, oh, let's collect up the villager and get him into my bedroom. You know, I could get a mending villager. He's so close by. All I had to do was get a boat. You know, I was going through the process in my head as if it was just an easy thing that most people do. No, it was one of the most annoying things to do because he just refused to go into that room at first. I had to push him in there and block him in. And even then, more problems arose in the future. And I cannot believe how many issues he is going to cause throughout this series. He's probably going to do it even in the future. He's not dead. After 100 days, he's still not dead. I know this is spoilers, but he is not dead. He should be, but he's not. On day 26, I found a village nearby. That's right, I found a village near my area. And by near, I mean, it was probably like, I think 200 blocks away. However, it was near the water and there was a connecting river, which means I was able to use a boat if I wanted to get them back and forth. I also found a mine along the way that had a TNT pressure plate underneath it. So I was correct in saying that some of those mines actually blow up. I even tested it, so that was fun. Around this corner. Oh, once again, lava there. This is exactly the same as last time's. And once again, and bow, and yep, pretty much the same. I knew it! How come last time that didn't go off? I wanted to see it go boom. And then I came across a sunflower worshipping town. So I had to read that out because for some reason I just said, found a sunflower worshipping town. Which, honestly, yeah, they were. They had things made out of moss and birch, and there was lots of sunflowers made out of stone, which, there were statues. And at first I thought, this is a cult. This is crazy. Why do I want to be here? I actually came up with an idea, though I wouldn't implement it until the day after. Day 27! I had an idea. That's right, an idea. I mentioned it yesterday, but I had an idea. Something to do with XP. Now, obviously, we hadn't gone the route of the XP grinder mob thing underground. We haven't done that yet, but we were trying to come up with something else, and I turned to my my partner and said, hey, do you have any ideas? They said trading with villagers, and I was like, I am such an idiot, of course. And because I had collected all the hay bales up over the last couple of days, which all of last episode I was collecting up like a ridiculous amount, it meant I could get farming villages and trade them wheat. Yes, it was a little tedious because it was a lot of wheat is retrading them. I think it was like 20 per thing, per emerald. But since I had so many hay bales, it made sense. And there was a lot of hay bales in the area. So I traded with them. I got my experience and some emeralds. So because the farmers had run out of trades and I still hadn't decided whether I wanted to create a whole bunch of composters, I went to a neighboring village. Now this one was different. It had quartz and dark oak as their theme, and honestly, for such a beautiful palette and such expensive taste, they were super poor. They had barely anything. I was finding it very disappointing in how much loot I did not find. They were hiding their best stuff, however, on the top of the church. I had to climb all the way up there and break through a bone block that they had used as decoration. There was just a random chest in there with like all kinds of cool stuff. I then stole their wheat. That's right. I saw hay bales and I stole them. And I took them over to the next village, back to the other village, and sold it to the farmers. I created capitalism. I did it. I traded from one village to the other. Hey, I did it for them. I am a good person, just doing a hard day's work of taking one person's stuff, selling it to the other person, and then trading back to them. You know, it's an economy I'm creating. Day 29 was actually a very simple day. I just returned home, enchanted my helmet, my pickaxe, and I started to try to get the mending villager. I just kept breaking the lectern over and over and over and over and over and over again. It took quite some time. I did get lucky with it, but honestly, it's one of the most frustrating things to do. I wish there was an easier way, and if I remember correctly, I had heard, because I'm on a different version, I had heard that they were changing traders to make it so only certain traders get certain enchantments in certain biomes. And I hate that idea. I'm so glad I didn't have it in this situation. I told you that villager would be annoying. Yes, I did get mending. I am so happy about that. Day 31, I have a mending villager, and at a decent price. I can't remember how much. I think it was like 10 or 11. It was in like the 10 to 16 range. But still, that is amazing for like mending villagers straight off the bat. And he was super annoying. So he tried to break out, and the only thing I could do is get him in a hole the flooded underneath of the boat that I was in. And so yeah, I just had to trap him underneath my door, basically. It was something. But because of that, I decided I wanted more villagers. We'll, backtrack to before when we said, oh, we should get the boats out and take them down the river. That's exactly what I thought. I got a whole bunch of boats and went to the nearby village, cradling them back into a holding bunker? A cell? A nice, safe place for them. Certainly not a cell. I actually have in brackets here, not cell. Shouldn't it say not a cell? Nah, who cares? But I was able to get in their boat and bring them one by one. Ready for breeding. On day 34, I ran into a bug. I wasn't too sure what happened, but I tried to breed the villagers with bread, carrots, potatoes, and it didn't work. Now, I know there's a thing where if you have mob griefing off, that it won't work. However, I had made it so that the creepers weren't able to do explosive damage through like a data pack. So I was wondering if that affected it. But it just seemed to not work at all. I kept making different things, doing different things, and trying different things. It wasn't working. On day 35, I went back to the poor sunflower praising village and decided that I needed more emeralds for the mending books. Yes, they were cheap, but hey, I also needed XP for my enchantments. So what I did was I tried to get as many of them to be farmers, getting out composters and such, and then trading some more wheat with them. Also exploring around the area to find more wheat. But I needed those emeralds and I needed them for mending so I could put them on all of my stuff, especially if I was going to be enchanting them. You don't have a workstation, maybe you should become a farmer, huh? Hey, there we go. Thank you. You might want to level up though. Yeah, that's good, that's good. Okay, so we got 4. Yeah, we got 4. So we need 2 more. That guy turned into it? Yes, he did. Gotta get over to him. I'm going crazy. On day 36, I ran into the problem of some of the villagers were deciding not to be farmers, and I needed them all to be farmers. I needed all hands on deck. I needed so many farmers with so many wheat trays that I would get sick of farming. So I broke all the other workstations I could find around the village and replaced them with composters. More composters. We need even more farmers. If every person in that village is a farmer, then that is not enough. We need more. Breed, make more of them. I then retrieved all the emeralds I could and went back collecting up 6 mending books, which was a great start. Not enough, but still a great start. I then broke the game with my enchantments somehow. I don't know what happened, but I was able to get fire protection and protection on something. This is the second bug I've run into, and I'm starting to think I've accidentally done something with a data pack that has just broken the entire game. But either way, I have double protection, I guess? Is it even going to work? Because it's kind of... I think it's just going to go with whatever the first one is, and the other one's just a bug. But yeah, I'm double enchant protected now. Yay! On day 37, the breeding just started working. Out of nowhere, the children just started spawning out of the villages. They just started breeding. I left bread in there overnight, and then by the next time I woke up, they just... I don't know. I don't know what happened. Either the bug fixed itself, or maybe I had to leave it there for a long period of time. I really, really don't know. But the first jobs I gave out to people were sticks, because we always like the stick trade. I gave them fletching. Is it the fletching table? I think it's the fletching table. It's something along that. I remember having to go get gravel and turn that into flint and then get some sticks, and it's great. But anyway, stick trades are the best because it's easy to get wood. You can always plant new trees. So I was definitely needing those as a more stable one than wheat because I didn't have a farm. Eventually I was going to run out of hay bales. I then started to decide what materials I would need for the seawall because I needed to start building something. I had focused so much on the start of the game and we were already at day 37 with no actual outline of a build anywhere. What I'm going to need is I'm going to need dead coral. I'm going to need, for the wall at least, we're going to need dead coral. We're going to need stone, cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, and moss. So we're going to basically be making a seawall type thing. A thunderstorm. So yes, I would like to make a few barrels. Actually, let's take these ones on the side for now. And we'll go over here. I'll put them here. Right, so we need to look at dead coral. Is there a specific dead coral that I want though? Because there is different types of dead coral. Some of them are fine. Like, you got this one. But some of them I don't know if I'm going to be using, you know? Day 38. After deciding that I wanted to incorporate dead coral into my build, especially with the data pack creating these new biomes, there are a lot of dead coral nearby. It suddenly become abundant, and I was like, I have to incorporate it. I have to somehow use it into the seawall. The seawall, we'll be using cobblestone and mossy cobblestone, so I'm just like, what else would go with that? And I thought about dead coral. Dead coral is a grayish color. It comes in many different varieties, and I really thought that we could find the perfect match to make it work. And so I spent the time just going out and mining it out. Enjoy. On day 39, I checked on my villagers to make sure they were okay. I wanted to be a good leader, a confident leader, a respectful leader. And then I got attacked by a random trident guy who almost gave me a heart attack. Like, what the actual hell? I mean, he didn't need to come out so aggressive. I wasn't coming at him or anything, but it's just rude. It was just totally rude. I mean, there are certain ways you can deal with things. Throwing a trident at someone's head is not appropriate. I also then decided to collect some moss, as I was going to be doing mossy cobblestone, and I was sure that I was going to use moss and other things, especially if I was planning on doing a sewer somewhere in the area. Because I always do sewers now when I make city builds. I don't know if it's like a way of putting little tunnels, because I'm secretly just a loot goblin who likes little tunnels to hide things. But yes, I decided to go and collect a whole bunch of moss. It finally hit day 40. Day 40. Oh, fraptious day. Oh, happy day. The final day of the episode. I made some stone cutters for the villagers, as I was the kind of person that really needed a block palette to work with, and one of the easiest ways to do that, especially because I wasn't too sure of where everything is in these new biomes, is to get stonecutter villagers. They have terracotta, they have quartz, they have chiseled stones, they have all kinds of things. And it's very helpful, especially because I wasn't too sure where a Badlands is or where I could find any of that kind of stuff. They're like my number one thing, especially because I use a stonecutter for myself. I like it, it's easy, it works. I also then went out to collect clay, because their first trade for emeralds, and to level them up, is clay. I went in around the sides of rivers and stuff to kind of make it work, because I didn't know particularly, especially again, new biome, data pack stuff, where clay was. Didn't know. I knew it was on the side of rivers, like underwater and stuff. Didn't know if it was above, and I would soon find out that the lake in the opposite direction of what I went is all clay at the bottom of it. It was just a clay layer all around. I did not figure that out until way too late. But honestly, yeah, I went out to get clay. That was fun. And then we started to talk about the build. What I wanted to do, what I was thinking. As it was day 40, we had to move on to the building. We just had to. We were almost halfway through. But just listen to me ramble for a bit before the end. Eventually, I want to integrate all of the villagers into the actual industrial build. So making sure they have a place in the build. Something that looks natural, you know? Something that actually works, like workers, etc. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I have faith. I have faith it's going to look cool. I've worked a little bit in construction building. I've built a crane or two in my time. I've done a few seawalls. Haven't worked in any kind of like industrial buildings though, so that's going to be the hard part, like making fake cogs and stuff like that. I do want to lean a little bit into the steampunk era, but you know, steampunk meeting Victorian meeting industrial kind of vibe, which is 3 different styles. Plus, this is also something I wouldn't usually do in a hardcore world. Hardcore world, usually you do something simple and easy if it's your first time, and this is, I guess, my second time in vanilla. But I know a lot of people do ridiculous, like, mountains of builds, so I thought let's shoot for the stars, let's do some basic ideas and then just expand on them. So my first idea was a fishing village, and then it turned into this. A seawall with kind of industry going on.